Hi guys, welcome to the channel. In this video I'm going to be building Tamiya's new Renault R35 French light tank. This is a brand new kit which was released in early 2020. Being a light tank, it's a very small tank and therefore quite a small kit as well. There are only 4 sprues in here and 2 of those are the same. But that's more than made up for by these very interesting camouflage schemes which the kit has. The first one here on the left is a 5 colour camo scheme, and the one on the right is a 4 colour version. Now I could opt out and just paint the whole thing German grey because, as you probably saw in the introduction, lots of these tanks were captured by the Germans, but I'm going to have a crack at the 5 colour version I think. So with this being a Tamiya kit, it's a very nice, easy build. Everything fits together really well. There are no comments really to make on the build itself, so I'm going to leave you to enjoy the build without me talking too much, and I'm going to come back when it comes to doing the actual painting. Okay, and that's the tank built. The kit does come with one figure. The tank only had a crew of 2. And it seems that all of these new Tamiya figures have these nice little notches to interlock the legs and the torso and the arms and so on, which is really, really useful when you're trying to get the alignment right. Very, very helpful little amendment, which I haven't seen in figures from other companies yet. So the tracks on the R35 are Lincoln length, so I built them up, put them in place, and I just taped them in place while I was constructing them, but I left the ends disconnected so I could remove them and paint them separately. So looking at this 5-colour camo scheme, I did consider hand painting this, but Tamiya acrylics don't really brush that well unless you have paint retarder, and I don't have any at the moment, and of course I can't go out and buy any. So I did decide to have a crack at airbrushing this. I started by painting the base XF58 olive green, so I could then add the colour patches on top. And to understand just quite why this is so fiddly, this is a size comparison compared to the M3 Lee I'm working on at the moment. As you can see, it's pretty tiny. And with 5 different colours to squeeze on here, each patch is pretty small. Now I haven't shown the airbrushing because I had to get really close to the model with the airbrush, but with very light coats of very thin paint, this is what I was able to come up with. There is a little bit of overspray in a few places, but I'm hoping that the black lines will take care of that when I put them in. The turret does need a bit of touch-up, it's not great, but overall I'm quite happy with the results. I painted the demarcation lines by hand using Vallejo model colour black, which must be one of my favourite paints, and it paints much better with brush painting than Tamiya acrylics. And there we go. I think that looks quite a lot better. To paint the exhaust I used 3 rusty colours. After putting down the red-brown colour as a base coat, I used an old brush to add specks of the other 2 colours, starting with the orange. And although I haven't shown it here, I also added some specks of the camo colours over the top of the rust to suggest the exhaust had been painted, but then the paint was flaking off due to the heat. After a gloss coat, I added the decals. To give some depth to the model, I used Tamiya panel liner black in the recesses. And then once that had dried for a while, I cleaned up the excess with a small amount of enamel thinner. Now weathering is not my strong point, so I only did some light weathering here. I started with some dark brown oil paint and blended it into the surface lightly. And then to get some texture, I use this AK Interactive Dry Mud Splatter Effects. This dries with a slightly gritty texture, as you can see here on this test piece. Once the mud was applied, I left it to dry slightly, not too long because it is acrylic and dries quickly, and then I tried to blend the edges in with a little bit of water. And also to aid that blending process, I added some of the splatter effects, watered down a little bit, and splattered onto the model with an old paintbrush. Finally, I gave the whole model a matte coat, and then I added some dark brown pigments over the wheels and the lower hull areas. These are the same pigments which I'm using on a small diorama base for this vehicle. Now I know I always say that, but in this case I have actually built the base already and recorded the video, so that should be out sometime next week. And here is the final result. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. In my next video I'll be showing you how I made a small diorama base for this model, and in the very near future I will be finishing off the Australian M3 Lee as well. And of course, if you like this video, then do please consider liking and sharing it. So until next time, thank you very much for watching.